You who are brokenhearted, who woke up today with the winds of despair whistling through your mind, come in. You who are brave but wounded, limping through life and hurting with every step, come in. You who are fearful, who live with shadows hovering over your shoulders, come in. This place is sanctuary, and it is for you. You who are filled with happiness, whose abundance overflows, come in. You who walk through the world with lightness and grace, who awoke this morning with strength and hope, you who have everything to give, come in. This place is your calling, a riverbank to channel the sweet waters of your life, the place where you are called by the world's need. Come in. Here we offer in love. Here we receive in gratitude. Here we make a circle from the great gifts of breath, attention, and purpose. Come in. I invite you to rise in body or spirit to join our voices in our opening hymn, 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Lights our chalice with these words by Charles Flagg. Every endeavor begins with a first step and encounters darkness and difficulty along the way. We know the darkness of ignorance, of fear and tyranny, yet we know the dawning of the light, the beginnings of hope, and the renewal of life. Blessed be the eternal power which inspires us to kindle this light. Blessed be the source of light and of life. Story for all ages, the story of the song, Spirit of Life. Carolyn McDade's Spirit of Life. No other song, no other prayer, no other piece of liturgy is so well known and loved in Unitarian Universalism as Spirit of Life by Carolyn McDade. It is our doxology, or perhaps our amazing grace. Many congregations sing it every Sunday, or at least enough to know the words by heart. Sermons have been devoted to this one song. A new adult religious education curriculum being field tested is based on this song. It is sung at weddings and memorial services, around campfires, and at demonstrations, at cradles and hospital bedsides. In 6 short lines, Spirit of Life touches so much that is central to our faith: compassion, justice, community, freedom, reverence for nature, and the mystery of life. It finds the common ground held by humanists and theists, pagans and Christians, Buddhists and Jews, gay and straight among us. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. As close as this piece of music is to the hearts of so many UUs, its songwriter is something of an enigma. Little has been written about Carolyn McDade. We think of her as ours and often identify her as a UU songwriter. But for the past 2 decades, she has had little formal contact with the denomination. And the tellings of the story behind Spirit of Life have not always agreed on the facts. Here is her story. Carolyn McDade does not call herself a Unitarian Universalist. I never huffed, she laughs, blowing out a puff of air and left. But when someone asks me where I'm being spiritually formed and where I'm participating in spiritual formation with others, it's not been connected with churches. My community is a loose community of women. I call myself a woman of faith, seeking with others to touch what matters. Neither does she identify herself as a songwriter or musician, though she has written hundreds of songs and released 15 CDs. Her most recent, My Heart Is Moved, due out this fall, is a collaboration by 10 women's choruses she works with across North America and is based on the United Nations Earth Charter. Activists, yes, but not musicians, she says. McDade, now 72, has given her life to what she calls the movement. By that, she certainly means the feminist movement that dramatically changed what was possible for women since she was a girl. But she also means a chain of linked, politically progressive causes. She has actively opposed wars, South African apartheid, US foreign policy, and nuclear power. She has worked for economic justice, environmental protection, and the rights of women migrant workers, prisoners, refugees, and lesbians. McDade grew up Southern Baptist in a series of small, rural Louisiana towns. When she was just 6, the United States entered World War II. At that's when she became a peace activist, she says. In many ways, she went on to follow the script for young women of her generation. Trained as a teacher, married, had 3 daughters. While living with her husband, Jim, in Austin, Texas, at the time, the Freedom Riders, she again butted up against her church upbringing. Our churches were silent, she recalls, yet if I took the theology of my childhood, I had to be active. A friend handed her a brochure for the First UU Church of Austin. There she found political mentors and marched in her first demonstration from the state capitol to the Air Force Base. She stops her story for one moment. Can you hear that sound? She points out. There's a chickadee cleaning its beak on that branch. They're so dear. When Jim got a job at Boston University in the mid-60s, the McDades joined the Arlington Street Church and enjoyed inviting folks over on weekends to sing. The church offered her a job as secretary. And when Jim was out with a bad back, the student minister, Marnie Harmony, invited Carolyn to put together music for one of the first women's services. But when she went looking for songs written by women, she was appalled to find so little available. So late one night, she sat at her piano and sang what she wanted to say to her 3 daughters, which became the song, Come, Daughter. It was a turning point, the first time she had sung from her own experience and a searing recognition of what she was meant to do. Writing my own song really was the beginning of finding my own way, she says. I was a young woman activist. My children were young, and I had totally lost myself. I wouldn't have known what to call it. Social movement was my healing, seeking my life as part of other lives. Like much of McDade's music, the genesis of Spirit of Life was a very personal one. Late one night in the early 1980s, she was driving her close friend home from one of those meetings. In UU tellings of the story, it has been called a church social justice meeting, an anti-nuclear power demonstration, and a remembrance of Harvey Milk, the openly gay San Francisco supervisor who was assassinated in 1978. Versions may work well to make a sermon point, but McDade says it was a meeting for Central American solidarity, probably at a college. What she remembers most clearly was the feeling she had. When I got to Pat's house, I told her, I feel like a piece of dried cardboard that has lain in the attic for many years. Just open wide the door, and I'll be dust. I was tired, not with my community, but with the world. She just sat with me and loved me for sitting, and she loved her for sitting with me. McDade then drove to her own home in Newtonville. I walked through my house in the dark, found my piano, and that was my prayer. May I not drop out. It was not written, but prayed. I knew more than anything that I wanted to continue in faith with the movement. She shared the song with a community of women she organized and sang with, as she still does with all of her songs. A handwritten version with just a melody line appeared in the songbook she used for years. Then in the early 90s, the UUA hymn book commissioned The UUA hymn book commission approached McDade about including her song in Singing the Living Tradition. She was reluctant. I thought of it as a living prayer, not a hymn. I don't feel like a hymn writer. McDade was not even aware of how widely or for how long UUs had been singing the song in their churches, copying it from gathering to gathering without getting permission or paying a songwriter. They loved it. Among ourselves recalls Reverend Mark Bellatini, who chaired the commission. We thought, if we don't put Spirit of Life in the book, we'll all be killed. We took her hesitation very seriously and wanted to address it. They agreed to place the song, hymn 123, under the love and compassion heading rather than worship. Remain seated for our prayer hymn 123, Spirit of Life. In the silence that follows the spoken prayer, you are invited to come forward and light a candle for any joys or concerns you hold in your heart this morning. Spirit of life, both within and around us, be present to our collective yearning for renewal in this moment. Life has become super lifey these days, with the demands and pressures of jobs and roles, the tugs of the heart of people, and the places we miss and long for. The ways that when so much is asked for, we crumble just a little bit more each day under the weight of it all. With soul-crushing, devastating news and updates from around the world and in our communities, the loved ones in our lives hurting and struggling, the ways that we are hurting and struggling. Spirit of life, we pause to acknowledge the many challenges of life and send love and care within and out in the world. We pause to honor and hold space for the struggles we experience in our bodies and in our spirits, and send love and care to those tender places we pause to receive the abundant mystery and grace, the power of love that is greater than ourselves to heal and nourish us. We call upon the transcendent gifts of renewal to be bestowed upon us for an energizing renewal to fill us in all the ways that serve our lagging spirits when our own resilience wanes. We give thanks and gratitude for the sweetness of renewal so that it may linger in us, be amplified and multiplied towards healing and wholeness. In the name of all that is hopeful and holy, may it be so. I light a candle for the joys and concerns of those beloveds joining us virtually. And I light a candle for all else that we hold in our hearts and minds this morning. If your heart is hurting, know that your community is here to help, as are our board and on-call minister. Please reach out with any needs. is not far away. It is here, in breath shared, in hope rekindled, and in the quiet courage to begin again. We honor the ancient story of a child born into a world hungry for compassion. Whether we name the story myth or memory, poetry or truth, its heart is the same, that every life carries sacred worth, and every act of generosity helps love take flesh in the world. The offering we now take is not a transaction. It's a practice of presence, a way of saying that what we do matters, that this community matters, that the light we kindle today will not end when the candles go out. May we give as we are able, with gratitude for what sustains us and with faith in what we can build together. Let this offering be a blessing, a holy presence made visible among us. I invite the ushers forward to receive the offering. For all that you give and all that you do, for our church and its wider concerns, we give thanks.
So Stephanie has been taking voice lessons with me, and when we were working on the 23rd Psalm for Mother's Day, we were working on it together, and it sounded really nice as a duet. And so I thought that we could do this for you today as a feature, since the choir is taking a break over the summer.
And my cup overflows.
Letting Go of Certainty by Reverend Rebecca Coppola. Let go of the idea that you know what breathing should feel like. Just notice the breath as it moves in and out. Let go of certainty. Be with the breath as it is. Allow openness. Allow curiosity. Notice the mind. Notice each thought that arises. Allow openness. Don't judge your mind or your experience. Be loving in your curiosity about each thought. Let go of certainty. Let go of any idea about what you should be thinking, accepting your thoughts exactly as they are. Be with yourself as you are. Be curious about who you are. Love how you are in the world. Gently take a deep breath, maybe even a big sigh. Re-enter the present moment and the stream of your life. Our second reading is All That You Need Lies Within You by Angela Herrera. Consider this an invitation to you. Yes, you. With all your happiness and your burdens, your hopes and regrets. An invitation if you feel good today, and an invitation if you do not. If you are aching, and there are so many ways to ache. Maybe your heart is heavy or hardened. Maybe it's troubled, and peace can take up residence only in a small corner, only on the edge, with all that is going on in the world and in your life. It doesn't matter. All that you need for a deep and comforting peace to grow lies within you. Once it is in your heart, let it spread into your life. Let it pour from your life into the world. And once it is in the world, let it shine upon all beings. I invite you to rise in body or spirit to join our voices in hymn 352, Find a Stillness.
Stillness.
bigger yes, posted on May 18th, 2014 by Rev Gretchen Haley. She says, in the months leading up to my high school graduation, my younger sister Sarah took to glaring at me across the room. Sometimes she'd even give me the silent treatment. My mom told me, she's angry at you for graduating. What? Why? Didn't she know this was coming? Isn't she happy for me that I was going to a great university relatively nearby? It was what we were supposed to do, right? In his wonderful work on life transitions, William Bridges describes the 3 phases of any given life change. Number 1, endings. Number 2, neutrality, or what religious traditions would call the wilderness. And number 3, launching the new. These stages happen kind of like stages of grief, not in a precise order, but rather you go back and forth, sometimes living in a little bit of all of them at once, but ultimately making your way across the spectrum, fully arriving in the last stage to launch the new. But first, as my sister understood, was endings. I was slow to understand this myself. It wasn't until the next fall, as I was going to college, that I got it. She and I had been best friends her whole life, and I had lived with her, often sharing a bedroom, her whole life. And I wouldn't be anymore. Bridges clarifies this phrase is not about moving out, though, or some other physical, literal ending. He says, we have to let go of the prior thing before we can pick up the new, not just outwardly, but inwardly, where we keep our connections to the people and the places that act as definitions of who we are. Sarah got that it was not just that we no longer live in the same house. We'd no longer be the same people. We'd no longer have the same kind of relationship. I mean, it was good. It was what we were supposed to do. And also, it was terrible. The terrible part of my new reality hit me a few months into the new year, when I felt an overwhelming sense of loneliness and disorientation. Who were all these strange people? They didn't know me. They didn't love me. And to make matters worse, I'd call home to check in, and my mom would report that Sarah was doing fine. My mom happily shared how Sarah and Christina, our younger sister, had grown closer after I left. This is the circle of life. Endings make room for new beginnings. Old ways fade to make room for a new creation. The Reverend Jen Crow, the associate at First Universalist in Minneapolis, recently told a story about a woman she knew whose greeting, rather than hi or hello, was, if you're not changing, you're dying. And after that, she might add, living things change. Dead things don't. If you're not changing, you're dying. So how is this something that's required for life? We could still be so bad. So how is it that something that's required for life, we could still be so bad at so often? It's like breathing. If you die, if you don't do it. You die if you don't do it. And yet, most of us need remedial lessons to keep us on track. Breathe in, breathe out. Let all the air in, let it all out. Right. For change too. Living things change, dead things don't. So as instructions for this necessary life practice, let's go back to Mark and Dee's chalice lighting and their rituals of transitions. Rituals help us process change, especially help with those inner realities. Somehow walking across a stage or moving a tassel or exchanging rings or shaving our heads ceremonially. These act as a signal to our inner selves and begin the slow and necessary work of inwardly letting go. What transitions have you experienced this year? Did you allow yourselves these sorts of rituals? If not, why not gather a few of your friends together and make yourself a ritual? It doesn't need to be fancy or formal. Light a candle, embrace a token, set a token down. Press your hands along beads. Sing, release. Weep, wail if you have to. Feel the witness of a wider circle of love. Feel the spirit of life that holds you. Feel the calling of that bigger yes burning inside you, calling you forward. And as you do, perhaps you would feel yourself slip into the next stage, the neutral or wilderness zone. It's the hardest phase to hang out in, and it is necessarily unstable. You are no longer your old self, but not yet your new either. It feels like waiting, absence, disorientation. We often fail to give ourselves adequate time here. We rush to restabilize. But it is in this neutral, interim place where we experience the renewal necessary to begin again. Discoveries and creativity abound. Learning and integration. Healing. Reconciliation. Wholeness. You'll need friends to circle round for this phase too. Friends, and maybe a good therapist. At least someone or someones who can hear you into speech, as we say in our small groups. Someone who will listen to you deeply enough that you can fully hear yourself. After some time and some bouncing around all these stages, eventually, most of the time, we arrive at the final stage of transition, launching the new beginning. It may look precisely as you imagined, or entirely different. Letting yourself discover along the way is living too. Living things learned too. For all of the transitions we find ourselves in, for the endings they require, the wilderness we wander in, and the new beginnings we strive for. Let us walk together, bless the path, and remind each other of how to breathe. Please rise in body or spirit to join our voices in our closing hymn, 348, Guide My Feet. As we come to the end of service, may you depart from our time together, buoyed by the spirit of life, delighted by the warmth of our gathering, and renewed in soul and in mind. As we extinguish the flame of our chalice, may its lingering spark be carried into your heart until we are together again.
Climbed a mountain, then I inside, down, oh, inside, down.